Hello everyone, wishing you all good health and peace in life. What happened to the kind man who had given Huyen and Maya a reason to hope again? That question filled the air with fear on the night the old house collapsed. In an instant, the home that once carried their laughter turned into a nightmare, a place of smoke, dust, and despair.
Trapped beneath the wreckage, Dee's life hung by a thread. Huyen's voice broke the silence of the night as she cried out for help, her tears falling like rain. Yet even in the midst of chaos, her love for Dee burned brighter than the fear surrounding her. It was that love, a desperate, unyielding force that refused to let him go, even when the world seemed to fall apart. The old house became hell, but within that hell rose a light. Huyen's unwavering devotion, a reminder that true love shines strongest in the darkest moments. The sun was warm that morning, yet Huyen's heart carried a strange heaviness. Standing in front of the old wooden house, she whispered to herself, "This place sheltered me and Maya through countless storms. But today, I must tear it down." Her hands trembled as she swept the garden, preparing the ground where the chicken coop and vegetable rows would soon rise. Life was harsh, and nothing could be wasted, not even the decayed beams of this weary house. Dee came to her side, smiling gently despite the sweat on his brow. "Don't be sad, Huyen," he said, his voice steady. "We have a new home now, and with you and Maya beside me, I feel rich already." But memories flooded her eyes with tears. She remembered the night rain leaked through the roof, the fear in her chest, the moment Dee rushed to save her when the roof almost collapsed years ago. This house, though fragile, held their laughter, their pain, their love. Dismantling it felt like tearing apart her own heart. Together, they began pulling away the beams and columns, planning to reuse whatever could still stand. Then, without warning, the house groaned, shook, and collapsed. Dust filled the air, wood cracked like thunder, and Huyen's voice broke into a scream. "Dee, where are you? Someone help me." Her hands shook as she stumbled through the fallen beams, fear crushing her chest. In that moment, the old house was no longer a shelter, it was a nightmare. She thought she had lost him forever. Then a cough, a faint laugh, Dee's voice. He sat among the rubble, dust on his face, pain in his arm, but still alive. "I'm fine, Huyen. I just wanted to scare you a little." Huyen's tears streamed down uncontrollably. "How can you joke about this? Do you know how terrified I was? If something had happened to you, Her words broke, but her heart spoke louder than any sentence. Dee's smile softened. He reached for her hand, his own trembling. "Forgive me. I only wanted to be strong for you, but I was careless. I promise I will stay by your side. I cannot live without you and Maya. You two are my life." Huyen wiped her tears but could not stop her sobbing. In that moment, despair turned into love, deeper and stronger than before. The house had fallen, but their hearts stood firm together. Later, as they carried the broken wood to build fences and a chicken coop, Huyen glanced at Dee's injured arm and whispered, "You frightened me so much today, but you also made me realize how much I love you." The old house had turned into ruins, but within the dust and pain, a brighter truth emerged. Love was the real home they had built, and no storm, no collapse, could ever take it away. The afternoon sun dipped lower, painting the sky in shades of orange. Huyen and Dee sat quietly on a wooden bench outside the new house, their clothes still dusty from dismantling the old one. The pile of broken beams and thatch stood nearby, silent witnesses of the storm of emotions that had just passed. Dee gently rolled up his sleeve, revealing the red bruise on his arm. Huyen frowned, her hands tender as she dabbed oil onto his skin. "You must promise me never to scare me like that again," she said softly, though her eyes still glistened with the memory of fear. Dee looked at her, his voice low and steady. "I promise, Huyen. Today I learned how much my life belongs not to me, but to you and Maya. I will be more careful, for both of you." Huyen smiled faintly, though her heart was still heavy. At that moment, Bibi ran around their feet, wagging his tail, carrying a dry piece of bamboo in his mouth as if reminding them that life, even after collapse, still carried small joys. "Tomorrow," Dee said, gazing toward the cleared land, "I will ask Mr. Hu to help us build the chicken coop properly. Then we can plant cucumbers and beans along the fence. Maya will be so happy when she sees the garden full of green." Huyen nodded. "Yes, she will be proud to see what we are building together. Even if times are hard, as long as we have each other, we will never starve." Just then, the sound of children's laughter echoed from the village path. Maya's voice rang bright as she ran toward them, holding her school bag. "Mom, Uncle Dee, look, my teacher gave me a star today for good handwriting." Huyen knelt to embrace her daughter, kissing her forehead. Tears that had been born from despair now turned into tears of pride. Dee bent down and placed a hand on Maya's shoulder. "You see, Huyen, this is why we must keep going. For her smile, for her future." The three of them stood together in the fading sunlight, mother, child, and the man who had become their shelter. Behind them, the old house lay in ruins, but before them stretched a field of possibilities. And in Huyen's heart, she knew, the collapse of wood and walls could never destroy the one thing that mattered most: love. That had been tested, shaken, but never broken. The next morning, the village awoke to the sound of roosters crowing and the faint smell of wood smoke rising from kitchens. Huyen tied her hair neatly, stepped into the garden, and breathed in the cool air. The old house lay silent in its ruins, but to her, it no longer looked like sorrow, it looked like a foundation for something new. Dee walked out carrying a bundle of tools on his shoulder. "Mr. Hu said he will come later with 2 men to help us," he told her. His voice was steady, though his arm still ached from the fall. "That's good," Huyen replied. "I boiled some taro early this morning. When they come, we'll offer it to them. It may be simple, but it's made with heart." From inside the house, Maya's laughter spilled out. She was playing with Bibi, who chased her around the small room with a stick in his mouth. The sound of her innocent joy filled Huyen's chest with courage. By mid-morning, neighbors arrived. Together they lifted heavy beams, straightened posts, and began shaping the remains into a new chicken coop at the back of the garden. Sweat dripped, arms trembled, but there was laughter too, laughter born of community, of people helping one another in the quiet countryside. "Hold this side," Dee shouted Mr. Who as he hammered a nail, "If you brace it firmly now, this coop will stand for many years." Dee obeyed, his face glowing with determination. Huyen watched him, her heart swelling with gratitude. Once, she had felt abandoned by the world. Now, seeing neighbors lend their strength and Dee working beside her, she understood. Kindness was still alive in this world, and it had found its way to her. When noon came, they all gathered under a shady tree. Huyen brought out a pot of boiled taro, a plate of bananas, and cool water drawn from the well. The food was humble, but no one complained. They ate with smiles, wiping sweat from their brows. Maya climbed onto Dee's lap and whispered, "Uncle Dee, when the chickens lay eggs, can I bring some to my teacher?" Dee chuckled, hugging her tightly. "Of course, little one. You can bring eggs, and maybe one day cucumbers too." Huyen looked at them, her eyes shining. The fear of yesterday had faded, leaving behind only one truth. Though the old house had fallen, life was giving them a chance to rise again. And together, with love and hope, they would build not just a new home, but a future bright enough to carry them through every storm. The days that followed were filled with work, yet there was a quiet happiness in every task. The old house, once a painful reminder, was slowly disappearing piece by piece. In its place, the garden began to breathe again. Huyen carefully planted rows of morning glory seeds. Her hands darkened with soil, but her heart lighter than before. "When these grow, we'll have fresh vegetables every day," she said softly, glancing toward Maya, who was helping by carrying a small watering can. Dee was nearby, setting up a frame with bamboo poles. "This will be for cucumbers. They'll climb high, and soon we'll have shade for the chickens too." His movements were steady, though his arms still bore faint bruises. Every time Huyen noticed, her heart squeezed with guilt and love. In the evenings, after a long day, they would sit together outside the new house. Maya would hum songs she learned at school. Babi would curl up by their feet, and the warm scent of rice filled the air. It was in these simple moments that Huyen realized happiness did not need to be grand. It was right here in laughter, in the sharing of food, in knowing they had survived hardship together. One night, as the stars began to appear, Huyen turned to Dee. Her voice was soft, trembling with sincerity. "Do you know, that day when the house collapsed, I thought I had lost you forever. My whole body shook with fear. But then I realized, if you're here, I can face anything." Dee placed his rough, calloused hand over hers. "And if I have you and Maya, I can endure every pain, every fall. You are my strength, Huyen. You turned my life into something worth living for." Tears welled in her eyes, but this time they were not tears of sorrow. They were tears of gratitude for love, for survival, for the chance to start anew. And so, though the old house had fallen, it left behind a gift, the reminder that even in ruin, love can rise stronger, brighter, and unshaken.